What's going on, and welcome to a brand new episode of Hair Mistakes That Age You Faster, Subscriber Edition. Yes, this is where I take photos that my subscribers have submitted, and I choose one randomly, and then I talk about potential mistakes that are going on with their hair that could be modified, and therefore create a more youthful look. Yes, and I apologize for all of this, rain gear, hat, hoods, all that, because well, the weather didn't quite work out the way I thought it was going to, and it is raining a lot. So yeah, there's that. But with that said, if you're curious, who is this guy? Why is he out in the woods? And why is he talking about hair in the woods? Well, it's a fair question. My name is Justin Hickox. I've been doing hair since 1995, and I don't like ring lights in salon situations. It's just kind of boring to me, so I prefer to bring you out and take you on adventures while I teach you about hair. And to be honest, you can learn about stuff looking at a wall in the background, or you can learn about it looking at a waterfall. Your choice. Not really, it's kind of my choice. I'm filming the video. So, waterfall it is. It sounds so rude. Okay, so before we dive into this, I want to make sure that we all know, again, this is a situation where I'm using one of my community members who sent in a photo, and we're talking about their hair. So with that said, I obviously expect in the comment section that people be respectful towards my community. Otherwise, we'll have problems. Okay, everybody, meet Rhonda. First of all, Rhonda, thank you so much for agreeing to be a part of this series. Let's dive into the first mistake that I'm seeing, and I'm going to throw you guys a little bit of a curveball here. I'm not going to start off by talking about the cut. I'm going to start off by talking about the color. The first thing that I'm seeing is the actual tone of the color. It's a little bit too warm, but not only is it too warm, there's also an aspect of green in it. Her skin tone is going to work a bit better with a little bit of cooler tones. Now, the next big mistake that I'm seeing when it comes to the color is the lack of dimension. If you notice, the color looks kind of like one color. It's very monotone. The concern with this is that it doesn't give the hair a lot of dimension, and therefore doesn't create movement in the shape. It can end up looking very much like a helmet. Now, the last big thing I'm seeing with the color, and this is actually really big, that the tone is actually all a bit too light. And that translates also into the roots are a bit too light. If you notice, this actually accentuates the length of her forehead, but more importantly, can make your hair look a bit thinner. Now, you might be saying, well, you're covering the gray. And if you're covering the gray, you want it to be a little bit lighter at the roots so that it doesn't contrast the gray so much. While it is true that the lighter color may create less contrast and minimize the grow out, it creates the larger issue of not working as well with her skin tone. So for me, I would lean to the side of a little bit more contrast in that grow out, but a much more pleasing tone on her. Now, if you look at this photo, all I've done here is cooled the tone down a bit. We added a little bit of depth to the roots. We added the appearance of lowlights to give the hair more dimension. And if you see, it immediately frames her face much better, it richens her skin tone, it gives the hair more dimension, and overall to me, it has a much more pleasing effect on her skin tone in general. Are you seeing that? Tell me you're seeing that. Let me know in the comments if you're seeing what I'm talking about there. You see it? Okay. Now, we're going to move locations here, and I'm going to talk about some of the style mistakes that I'm seeing. So, let's do that. Okay, I apologize if that stream, it's kind of like a river right now, is really, really, really loud. I'll try to kind of cut this out in the audio, so I hope that that isn't overly distracting, but it's kind of amazing, so yeah, sorry about that. Oh well. Okay, so let's talk about the cut and style. Now, there are a few big mistakes that I'm seeing, but the great thing is all of these mistakes are really easy to address, and they're actually very common. I see them a lot. So first of all, when it comes to the cut, this is a situation where layers are very important. So I love that her hair is layered. However, it's layered too much from the shortest layer down. Now, the problem with this is, especially on thinner hair, this can make the bottom look very thin and therefore not support the overall shape, which means it wouldn't create volume in the correct areas, and it can make the ends look a bit kind of scraggly. So it doesn't really give the overall hair a foundation to have a nice shape, if that makes sense. Now, the next mistake that I'm seeing is a bit pronounced by the first mistake. So it's a little bit of a piggyback. And that is that the fullness is all right around the cheeks, and then there's not a lot of volume on the top. So you have a lot of volume on the sides or on the cheeks, not much on the top, and it creates a very square overall feel. This has a tendency to bring the eye down, also adds more width to the cheeks instead of accentuating the beautiful cheekbones that she has, face structure, etc. So in this scenario, the way that I would address it is by creating less volume through the sides and a little bit more volume on the top, and then letting some of those layers in the bottom fill in so that it gets a little bit stronger. It's going to help create a nicer overall shape that is much more complementary to her face shape. Now, what I like about showing you this particular situation where I'm just modifying her particular look, it gives you kind of an idea of little changes that you can make right now that make a huge impact. So this allows you to see a shape that is going to be obviously very comfortable for her because it's literally her haircut, just modified a little bit. Make sense? Okay. Now, don't worry, though. I know that you guys like the curveballs. I know that you want to see her in something totally different. What can we do if we did something different? So I've got you covered. Don't stress it. But I'm going to walk you over here so I can show you one last sight while we talk about a total curveball that I think you're really going to like. All right. Yeah. Not so bad, huh? I'd say not. That does not... Yeah. You know. Doesn't at all. Okay, so let me throw this curveball at you here. Now, first of all, I looked everywhere for a photo that showed this, but still had somewhat of a color that I could kind of color match to the color ideas that I was telling you. That didn't happen. So what I'm gonna do may seem a little bit odd at first, but work with me here and follow me. I'm gonna show you a photo of her in black and white, and then I'm gonna show you the style that I think would work well for her, also in black and white, so that the color tone of the style doesn't kind of throw you off in any way. The reason that I think this will look great on her is because I'm taking in a little bit into consideration what I'm seeing in this photo. Now, I've said this before, if you come into the salon, we're gonna ask you a lot of questions about your lifestyle and how you style your hair and how much time you spend on it and what you like and what you don't like and where you work, all of the things to get a really good idea of not just what's gonna look good on you or work with your texture, but also what's going to make sense for you and your lifestyle, your personality, so that it all works together to create something that really shows off you as who you are and is very personalized. So with that, all I have to go on in these particular videos is a photo. So I kind of have to pull things from the photo to try to get an idea or a sense of something that might work for the person. Now, for Rhonda, what I noticed is in her photo, she has a very classic and elegant look, and the room around her looks to be designed in a very classic way. So to me, that spoke to a style that would have that classic edge, look good on her, but also give her a little bit of versatility to make it a little bit edgier if she feels the need to. And that is how I came upon this. First of all, looking at this shape is going to address the concern of the layering in the back. Bob shapes are great because the foundation is very strong, so it can have a tendency to make your hair look denser, thicker, and fuller. It also breaks over her forehead with a slight bang, so it's something that she's going to be comfortable with. But most importantly, these shapes tend to grow out very well, and they tend to have a very elegant, classic feel that, like I said before, can get very kind of edgy and strong if you want to do that. And to be quite honest, I just think it looks really solid on her. More importantly, I'm curious what you think. What do you think? You think that would be a good look for her? Do you think she should stay long? We see what it looks like if she stayed in her current length. We've seen what it looks like if she modifies the color and tone of her hair. And now we see what it looked like if she took a little bit of length off and went even a little bit shorter. I honestly like that bob, but that's just me. What do you think? Let me know. Well, hey, that's it for me today. I'm gonna get out of this rain and I'm gonna let you guys get away from this ridiculously, horribly ugly waterfall. Again, I am so sorry you had to witness this. I'm gonna go ahead and witness it for another 15 or 20 minutes before I leave. There's that. Hey, thank you so much for hanging out. Let me know in the comments what you think. And I'm looking forward to next week for a brand new episode of Hair Mistakes That Age You Faster, Subscribers Edition. Thank you so much again, Rhonda. You guys have a great week. See you next week.